I do want to take some time to introduce our esteemed speakers and moderator for this conversation. You can find their bios on the festival website and learn all about their prestigious degrees, titles, and awards that they all have. For now, I want to introduce them by sharing about the power of their literary work and that you'll get a chance to hear a little bit about today and then read about later. So let's start with the literary tastemaster herself, Glory Edim. That's right there in the middle. Her deeply powerful memoir, Gather Me, a memoir in praise of the books that saved me, explores the transformative power of literature in shaping identity, navigating hardship, and fostering connection. Edim, the founder of the Well-Read Black Girl Book Club, weaves together her own coming-of-age story with the books and authors that served as her guides and companions through various stages of her life. From Nikki Giovanni's poetry cassettes in childhood to the profound impact of Maya Angelou, Toni Morrison, and Audre Lorde in her later years. Edim meticulously details how these literary voices helped her to find her own voice, to process grief and familial shifts, and to build connections with other Black women. Edim's memoir beautifully illustrates what happens when we get both lost and found in books, entering our own sort of sanctuary. Give it up for Miss Glory Edim.
Thank you, Hazel.
This sanctuary feeling, I imagine, is familiar to our second speaker, Erika Simpson. Poignant and inventive, Simpson's memoir, This Is Your Mother, delves into the complex and enduring relationship between a daughter and her larger-than-life mother across cycles of poverty, separation, and illness. Simpson intricately weaves together a dual timeline, shifting between her childhood in Atlanta and her adult self grappling with her mother's battle with cancer. And she does so in a narrative style that allows us to feel that we are there with Sally Carroll, who we have here with us today in the form of picture. Capturing the push and pull, yeah, absolutely, give it up, give it up. This story captures the push and pull of their relationship, the entanglements, and the profound impact of their shared history. Let's give it up for Miss Erika Simpson. Yeah. And while this her book is deeply personal, it resonates with the universal themes of family, resilience, and the search for identity. And I can't think of a more aligned moderator than the multi-hyphenately talented Jordan Hernandez. As an individual and as part of a twin set, very exciting, Hernandez brings experience in communications, marketing, and authorship. Her booming platform, Completely Booked, and child, she is completely booked. We are so glad she's here with us today. This platform shares literary works that showcase and celebrate all walks of life, making Hernandez a perfect moderator for today's conversation. There is so much more I can say and share about these three brilliant women, but you didn't come here to hear me talk. So with that, let me turn it over to Jordan Hernandez in conversation with Glory Edim and Erika Simpson.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Amazing. Well, thank you all so much for being here. I know it's hot. It's hotter than it's been recently. And some people I love the heat and some people don't. So I appreciate that you are all here. And I reached out to a bunch of book festivals at the end of December, just, that I knew I could get to. And I was like, let's just see if I can moderate any panels. And when they got back to me and said, and Erika, yes, of course, and I read your book and I love, but when they said you can interview Glory Edim, I said, are you sure you sent this email to me? Are you sure? So this is like beyond. So I'm so excited to be here, and you are all in for a treat. As Hazel mentioned, you know and love these two women, and I will admit there are some panels I've moderated where I have not read the books, but I did read fully read both of these books, and they were such a blessing. So we got a little bit of background for the books, but can you share what the process was like writing your story and what to omit, what to include, how to make it a storyline? How did you remember all the stories? If you can chat a little bit about that process.
Yeah. Okay, I will go first. And I just want to say
go.
thank you to everyone. This is incredible. I'm so glad to be here at Gaithersburg. This is a beautiful festival. So, where to begin? When I first started my memoir, it was completely different than what it is now. Initially, I had, oh my goodness, the wind is here, the energy is here. We are being blessed, okay? I originally had a proposal or a draft of letters between me and my mother. So a core storyline is the relationship between me and my mom, and when she had a moment where she wasn't very communicative. So we wrote letters to one another. And so that was like the way that I structured the novel. And then my mother said, no, thank you. Do not include any of my letters in this book. So it made me like take a whole step back to say, like, what is the story separate from my mother's voice? What does this mean to me? Originally, a lot of people thought I would do a memoir that was really focused on the creation and building of Well-Read Black Girl. And I really wanted to take this opportunity to share my personal story and what it meant to me to like really survive some really challenging and joyous moments through books. You know, there was a moment when Toni Morrison passed away that I was just so heartbroken. And I remember going at the time I lived in Brooklyn, and I went to, we had like this like impromptu like celebration of life for her, and everyone was just like so moved, and I literally like felt like I had lost my grandmother. And that is like what books do, and that is what authors do. When you lose them in a physical sense, or you like end a beautiful book that like really moves you, it's like they're with you, they're guiding you. Even if you don't have a relationship with them directly, their words are models for you. And so when my mother lost her voice, so many of the books that I had read throughout the years became like a model for me. So the original form of this that was so different and told a different story to the end version that is really a biblio memoir of sorts. It was just so different, but I'm so grateful that my mom said no. It's like one of those things when you have the constraints, when you have the idea of something and then the reality of it births something completely new. So that is how this book really came to be. I had to like go through my bookshelf and look at a book and then like connect a memory to that story. And I had so many, like I had literally had journals, and I had all the books I had read in high school and had margins in them, like notes in the margins. I had so much like reference material of my life that all I had to do was like look in my journals, look in my zines that I made in childhood, look and on my report cards that said I talked too much, you know, like there were all these things. So it felt like a really deep investigation of myself, and I'm really proud that I was able to excavate and get all those ideas out. And at the end of it, it was like, okay, end scene, end chapter. Like this is like everything I had been holding in my head and in my heart for such a long time is on the page. And my friends who have read the book, they're like, oh, this is you. Yeah, like the people who have read the book, you probably know more about me than my mom and my siblings. Like I really did like try to be as honest as possible for a number of reasons, to get it out of my head, but also to have like a story to share with my son.
That's so cool that you said that your mother said no. Because if my mother was alive, she was a June Gemini, so she never stopped talking. So she probably would have grabbed the pen from me and been like, let me actually write this. So I did include letters from my mother. And mine came about because, so my whole childhood was spent waiting for my mother to die. She had cancer 5 times. Bless you. She had cancer 5 times. She had a brain tumor when I was born. They told her, do not have that baby or you will die. And she was like, bet. I need a she was like, I need a baby for my older daughter, because she was already divorced, and she was like, I need her to have someone. Yeah. So I spent a lot of my childhood bracing. And when she died in 2013, it still hurt, of course. Like the bracing sucks just as much as the unexpectedness. And so in 2014, my older sister was like, let's write NaNoWriMo. And I was like, okay. And she wrote like time-traveling black women in the South going on all these adventures. And then I wrote like, my mother is dead. And I was like, wait, let me try again. And then I was like, my mother is dead. And so
I was like, maybe I should just follow that. And I wrote the entire second person telling of what happened. Yeah. And it was the most depressing piece of literature you've ever read. So I let it sit for 8 years. Mm-hmm. And then I went, my best friend, Jeremy O'Harris, he popped with slave play. And he was like, you've got to get to grad school because I can't nepotism you in. Yeah. So I went to grad school, and then I was able to finish it. And my shoulders feel lighter. Like you said, it feels like I have best friends who read it, and they're like, I have no clue any of this was happening. Yes. And I'm like, my mama said, conceal what's real. You don't tell your business.
But, but isn't that like a crazy thing? So many people have come up to me. They're like, I'm so sorry. And it's like, you don't have to apologize. It's like, I'm so okay. Like, there's so much reaction of people being like, this happened like 20 years ago. It's like I'm resolved with it. I feel good. I'm actually very happy. And
yes, I'm free.
I'm free. You know, it's such a liberating practice to tell your story, whether it is published or not. Okay. It is such a an incredible thing to get it out of your body, out of your mind, and
you're literally holding it in your shoulders. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah.
It's in you.
Was it nerve-wracking to put that out? Both of the stories are very personal, and there's information in there. You know, especially if people don't know you. I think when I read a book, and even after having read both of your books, I'm like, wow, like this is their story, right? So in your mind, it's kind of character. And I listened to the audio for both of your books, so it was very personal, of course, as well. So I feel like Sally Carroll's my girl at this point, right? Like we are best friends. I just finished it. I just came out May 6th, so I just finished it a couple days ago, and it was incredible. But were there any parts that you were really nervous to put out there and nervous for people to question you about?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was like reliving my father's passing was very challenging for me. And just like, there were, since he has passed, I've had a child, and I've had some like really major life moments that I wanted him to be present for. So it was like I was honoring him and sharing the story with him, but also grieving his death again. Yes, I think that was probably the most challenging part, and something I still I struggle with. But it's not because I didn't want to have that out there. It's just such a tender thing for me to deal with. And it's the thing with grief; it never goes away. It evolves, it moves in a different way. You feel it when a special moment happens, a song comes on. Like there's just
temptations for me.
Yes, like it just never goes away. So you just live with it in a new way. But it also gave me so much. I have a lot of photos of my family in our home, and I also have like a photo of like Frederick Douglass, and I'm a huge fan. If anyone follows Well Read Black Girl, I'm always like, he's Frederick Douglass, like I really love it. So this I feel like the universe did a sign, because if you look outside, this tent is the Frederick Douglass Pavilion. So I just
your man's tent.
It's my man. But there was a moment where my son kept confusing like Frederick Douglass for his grandfather, and I was like, "Wait, what is happening?" I was like, "That's not Granddaddy. Like he's part of our. He's like an ancestor, but he's not part of our direct lineage." So I had to. But it was just like awesome to like relive my father's life in that way and share stories with my son, even though he's so young. But he's gonna grow with him, and he's gonna have a reference point in the book, So that's what it became for me. Like even the vulnerability is necessary to have like the lasting impact and the legacy. So it was hard, and I forget that I didn't really use pseudonyms. I'm curious if you did. I used like full names, and so people were like, "Oh, how's your brother Maurice doing?" And I'm like, "How do you know my brother?" It's in the book. Now I'm like, "Oh, it's in the book, yeah." And so I'm like, "Yeah, he's great. He just got married." So I'm assuming like they went to like college together. She's like, "No, I read your book." So that happens a lot.
Sorry, my Aunt Vernell and my cousin Sarah just walked in. Hi, Auntie!
Woo! Auntie. Yes, I love it.
OJ!
It's so many reunions. Oh, this is great.
That's my best friend from high school, my best friend from college.
Wow.
This is too much.
This is
like you're saying, my book is called This Is Your Mother because it's like I don't have anything concrete of her. And we went through a lot of evictions. So it's like this is a physical copy of your mother. And every part of her, the songs she liked, the DVDs she owns are in the book, the medication she took, every part of her inside jokes, and all her siblings' names are listed. And then if you talk about nerve-wracking and memory, so I famously have never been to therapy or had medication. I'm mentally ill.
So, Erika, you are exactly who I thought you would be. But exactly.
I am Sally Carroll's daughter, 100%. But when I was writing it, my editor, she would be like, we need 20,000 more words. And she was like, what happened in college? I'm like, nothing. Absolutely nothing. And she's like, but there's like 3 empty. I'm like, what are you talking about? We lost the house or whatever, but nothing major. And she's like, girl, let's write that down. So that was nerve-wracking in terms of memories that you erase from your mind because they're just simply too hard to deal with.
Or isn't it crazy because it's like part of your life? Like there's so many things that happen. They're like, oh, how did this is like my least favorite question. How did you get through that? You know,
checks off a question. No, I didn't have that question. I didn't have that question.
Like, you know, when something challenging or traumatic, like how did you do it? You know, and I think I feel like you could probably relate in this way. It's just like you just do it.
Yes.
You have to. It's
survive.
like your life. Yeah. So a lot of the things that I wrote down that I'm just like, oh, that wasn't normal. That was deep dysfunction. That was deep, like deep. Like, you know, and so, but we normalized it, and we like went, and I was still very high functioning. I was on the dean's list. I was making honor roll. I was like student government. I was doing all these things that perhaps another person wouldn't have, you know, but it was my life, you know. So you just have to like honor your life and your own story.
Yes, that's why my whole thing is that the book is about the rules of survival. Like, how do I get through this? And you know, sometimes people can't even handle what you would say. Like, if you're like, oh, so my mom is like dying. They're like, oh, you know, so it's like sometimes you just shoulder it yourself.
Yeah, then you're comforting someone else because of their discomfort.
Yes, you understand, Capricorn.
You know what I thought of, Erika, when I was reading your book? It's set a lot in second person. So, you know, Erika, when she's saying it, she's like, your mom is going through this, right? And putting it on to the reader. And I felt that as a reader, right? And kind of taking that on. What was the intention behind writing it in that second person way?
Exactly that. I was like, I can't deal with this. So your mom's dying, yours. Because it's easier. It puts an emotional distance, and then it also makes the reader sit. I'm like, you about to be set with me, because I couldn't. I also write the entire thing in present tense, so there's no escaping. You have to learn the information. Someone said to me, like, wow, the book is about like the release of information and the reveal. I was like, yes, write that down, because it is about the information that you get it and the time. And sometimes in life there isn't any moment to brace. It's just like it's happening. Someone just told me, like, during the signings, people get really personal with me and share their trauma, which I'm a Cancer. I like that. Sometimes it gets a little heavy, but you know, she had just said, like, I literally got the call, like, your mom's in hospice. She didn't tell you at all. And you know how my book opens is my mother didn't want to tell me. Aunt Maddie had to tell me. And so I feel for that. That would make me throw up. You know what I mean? Like,
I think I have like an icebox heart when I'm reading books. I don't know what happens because I'm a crier in real life, but when I'm reading books, I don't get scared. I don't cry. Like, nothing happens.
What's your birth chart?
I'm a Taurus, but I don't know all the other. I don't know all of the rising and the setting of the sun. I don't know.
Don't worry, we'll do it.
But I did cry. I will not give away the end, like it's towards the end. But I did. And it was
so much.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Every time someone cries, my shoulders get a little lighter. Yeah. It's like someone understands, you know?
Yes. I do want to, because I know we're on limited time, I do want to talk about Well-Read Black Girl. Oh, yeah. And the building of that, and we can talk about the building of it, but more so the community that you have built and how that's evolved through time, and, you know, how much you've helped us, but how much maybe we've helped you, and what has that experience been like?
Yeah, absolutely. There would be no Well-Read Black Girl without the beautiful Black women readers and writers that have supported me from the beginning. It's been such a a life-altering experience. So with my first anthology, Well-Read Black Girl, that came out in 2018, I literally, in the acknowledgments, I named 20 women that came to the book club for 2 years straight. We met in basements and restaurants. We met in places that probably we should not have met in, and they were just so nurturing and supportive, and they became my like real lifelong friends. They're like people that came to Beyonce concerts and baby showers, and like we were just always in it together. And the premise in the beginning was not a business. It wasn't a movement. It wasn't all the things that you see online. It truly was friendship. I was building these sincere, honest, authentic friendships with these women who happen to love the same books and happen to like just want to support one another. So anyone trying to build community, it has to come from that space of just being genuine and wanting to support one another. And the authors that I've, again, been so blessed to work with, from Naomi Jackson to Jacqueline Woodson to Jasmine Moore to like just so many incredible people that are just, they're lifelines, right? Like they really are changing the history of what it means to call yourself a Black woman writer. They have also been supportive from the very beginning, and I didn't set out for it to be what it is, but I'm so grateful. I just feel like it's been, again, life-changing. And right now it's gone from, and I have allergies, I'm not crying. I know.
I was ready to be moved. I was like, yes, Mom.
I know, sorry, I'm just like, so my heart is moved, but I'm also want to sneeze.
Moving towards some clarity.
So it's gone from book club to now it is a literary imprint. So I, in partnership with Live Right, my first book is coming out. And yes, thank you, I appreciate it. It's called The Catch by Yarsa Daly Ward. It is coming out June 3rd. Please pre-order. So I have moved from the space where hosting the book club to now being an editor and acquiring incredible new stories. The focus is debut writers. So I just want every writer to have the opportunity to have their story told and to be supported, like in an environment like this, online, and this community. There's so many incredible bookstagrammers and people that work in PR and marketing, editors, that we all have each other. It's like we're this like amazing network of people that constantly uplift each other. And yes, it's about community, but it's also about visibility. It's also about just like making sure that the book is being supported in every single facet. Like, people are pre-ordering, people are showing it online, they're like doing workshops together, going to retreats. It's not about just selling a book. Like we have the festival, we have the podcast. There's just so many different facets, and I try to approach it with that same curiosity and love, and I think about it as just being generous, because if folks had not done that same generosity of supporting my first book or coming to the festival, I wouldn't have this space. So we're in it together always. I'm for sure.
And Gloria,
I don't know if that answered your question.
No, it did.
But it's just like, it's been such it's almost like 10 years now. Yeah. It's been such an incredible, growth over the years. Yeah, and I've changed so much now. I'm a mother now, and I've had my life has changed so incredibly too.
Yeah, Gloria, I want you to know the day my book came out, I had book tour in Raleigh, and there was a gaggle of Black girls. They were like, we from Well-Read Black Girls.
Yes.
And it was just so... Yes. It felt, I didn't know a single one, but it felt like they were my sisters.
Yeah.
They stayed for the signing. I talked with them all. We hugged. It was community.
Yeah.
Just so instantly.
Thank
it was
you.
so
Oh my God,
nice.
it makes me feel so good. Now I'm gonna cry for real. Because that's what it's about. It's really about just showing up for one another and making sure that with your debut book, you feel held and you understand that we've got you. No matter what, whether you make the list or you don't or you do or whatever happens, you have our support always.
Yeah, they were so supportive. They were like, "Girl, you about to go talk with Gloria? You yeah." I'm like, from your lips to God's ears. You know what I'm saying? Yes. So yeah, it was some good girls. That's a great community.
And it's true, when you build something in such an authentic way, people can feel that. People, I'm sure you get the questions, I get the questions, oh, how did you build it? And it's like, I didn't mean for this. It's not that I didn't want this, I didn't mean for it to be like this. It's just that, we wanted to kiki over some books and just have a little conversation, and now it's become a much bigger thing, and it's so beautiful and it's growing, and we're cheering you on so hard. In terms of, okay, we talked about the imprint. Why do you think people are interested in your stories? I think it's something they said. Of course, celebrities have memoirs, athletes have memoirs. We want to hear Olympians. You know, we want to hear their story. I was in a bookstore years ago. Where there's a small bookstore, used bookstore in Hoboken, where I live. Shout out Jersey. And the woman who owns it is Russian, and I interviewed her. And I asked her, what is the main difference between when you had a bookstore in Russia and when you have a bookstore here? And she said, in the way that only she could, very direct, not being American. And she was like, you know, Americans write a lot of memoirs and biographies. They really love their own story. We don't really do that. I was like, honestly, that's a great answer. I was like, that's so American, yes. But I think that's something that I love other people's stories. So I'm very appreciative of people who write their memoirs and their autobiographies. What did you feel made your story, besides for yourself, besides getting it, you know, out of your own system and all of that, worth sharing with other people?
Yeah. For me, I definitely was like, is this gonna be boring? Like, who cares about me? Especially as a black woman, you know, they make us try to humble ourselves and be small. But mostly my story is like the feeling of feeling alone, isolated in poverty and in illness. We definitely live in a world that's ableist, you know what I mean? So they don't want to hear about anyone sick. And growing up in Decatur, Georgia, I did not want to be caught wearing like some fake name brand clothes. You know what I'm saying? They will clock you quick. So I think it's about realizing that you're not alone, and like that other people, like so many people, even people I know, are like, you know, oh, we have such a similar timeline where it's so similar. And I'm like, well, I didn't know about you either, girl. You know what I'm saying? We were all just sitting in that lunchroom, kikiing and laughing and making up inside jokes and pretending the real world isn't happening, you know? So I think that's what makes it universal, just that you can get a peek behind someone else's curtain and realize we're all behind the same scenes, you know? We're all fighting to survive in the same effed up world, you know? So I think that's what makes them relatable.
Yeah, I want to echo everything you just said, because there were so many moments where, because of my online presence, there were a lot of assumptions made about who I was and how I grew up, or how I even navigated the literary space. And I wanted to just kind of debunk all of that and say that, like, I've had some really, you know, challenging experiences, but that didn't take away my joy. It still allowed me to still be just as ambitious. And I really wanted to model that, like the way that other authors had modeled that for me, especially, you know, I mentioned the greats from Maya Angelou to Toni Morrison. Like, they are all so vulnerable and candid about who they are on the page. I was trying to do my due diligence and just pour it all out. And I don't know. I just wanted people to know that, like, my life is like far from perfect, and you can still have a good life. You know, like, it's just like you can still do all the things that you aspire to do, even if your mama was sick, even if you lost your daddy, even if like all the things that happen that are real and universal, there could be a relation to that. And I didn't want the book to be like a business, this is how you build community. I just wanted to show it in the best way possible. Like, I wanted to say, like, these are the things that I did that made my life feel artful and creative and meaningful. And I didn't necessarily know I was doing it until I was like going back and writing my story.
And Erika, I think one of the main points of your book, of course, speaking about poverty and the reality of students being sent to college. That's something that I have, you know, being a college graduate myself, I have seen a lot, where people, you know, they get the full ride and all of that, but you still have books you need to buy, you still have bedding and clothing, and then how you're going to get there and all of that. Speaking about the reality of poverty in your book is so real, because we have these images of what we would call unhoused people living without addresses, and you have this image of maybe someone on the street, but you don't have an image of them in school or in college or in these programs.
Society.
In society, just being, right? Someone could be amongst us right now. We have no idea.
Amongst us.
Yeah. Like, what was that like, and was that something that was super intentional for you?
In writing it or in living it?
And writing it and making sure that it was told. Yeah.
So those are the parts that my editor was like, what else happened? And I was like, I don't know. It was challenging because, again, like you said, you get the full ride, especially when you're black and smart. They're like, you're in. But then I'm like, how do I get there? They're like, figure it out. and that's tough. Like, I had to get a personal loan for $10,000 that ended up costing $100,000. Didn't pay it. Still on my credit.
Buy the book.
You'd have to buy some books. Shout out Obama.
Buy some books.
Right. Go buy some books. Please, Sally Carroll would say, support my baby. We need it. Please.
We're passing around a collection plate.
I'm about to put
one.
the books. So yeah, it's important for college kids to know, like, some people are first generation going to college. Some people are doing this when the family, like, every time it was time for break, I felt like Harry Potter. I was like, can I stay in the dormitories? You know what I mean? I'm like, I can't go back there. But it's like,
You were hilarious.
I tell you, you are making my whole life that this is how you are. Because when I tell you, I just listened to this book. Yes.
that's why I had to read my own book. I'm like, let me do it. But yeah, it's important for kids to know you are literally not alone, and that's your first time being alone without your parents. So sometimes you can be like, oh, my mama broke. Okay, I'm gonna be rich. I'm famous in the future, but it's like, oh no, it's me too. I am an adult, and it's me too. So yeah, I just want to make sure nobody felt alone in that.
And what was, for you, Gloria, the most challenging part of writing the book? In terms of, like, maybe what you mentioned about reliving your father's death, but maybe either reliving it or just getting the words right.
Yeah, I feel like at one point I was being very precious about things, and I kept like there were so many different iterations of this book, so I kept going back, and then it took me about 5 years to write. So I would like live a little bit more life, and I'd be like, oh, I need to add another chapter, or I need to add this in too. And at some point, my editor was like, okay, we need to stop, like find the ends, find the period, and I had to like go through scenes and decide what the end was, and then part of me too felt a little bit obnoxious writing a memoir being so young. You know, like I'm in my 40s, early 40s. Yeah. And I was just like, okay, like, you know, who am I to like write something? But I was able to condense like a very crucial part of my life and tell that story. So I was like, okay, I left a little bit of mystery. You know, you all know a lot about me, but not everything. I can like come back and tell more of my story. I can live a little bit more, you know, share my journey in a different way. So that was probably the hardest thing. Like, how do I end this that feels satisfying and still keeps me, still keeps a little bit to myself too, you know? So I wanted to keep like something. So I think about it as a time capsule of sorts, and a gift to my son as like who his family is. Because they were also just met a lot. I don't know how you felt. I can't wait to read your book, by the way. This is so exciting.
Can't wait to read your book. You better say my book.
Yes, both are very good. Very, very good.
There were just parts where I was just like, I wonder how this is going to be in the future. Like, there's so many books that I've read that were written, you know, years and years and years ago. I'm just like, when someone reads this in 2060, like, what are they going to think? What is the world going to be like now? Like, it's so exciting to think about that, you know, and I just wanted to, like, write it also for, like, my future, the future's not self, but yeah, just the future, like just future generations of young Black women that want a model of telling a story. I had never really read a first generation memoir where really, because both my parents are Nigerian, and there are a lot of gaps in my parents' story where they just didn't tell me for whatever reason. Like, they just felt it was too painful, or, you know, my mother was like very much into like leaning into assimilation and being looking and behaving and talking a certain type of way instead of necessarily sharing the history, you know, like talking about what happened with her and my dad when they were in the war. Like, so I even wrote into those gaps and saying like, I don't know this, and that's okay. But at least my son will have something to go off of and do his own research, and I'll tell stories that like of much as I know. So just kind of opening that chasm up to say like, there's no secrets here.
Were there memoirs? Go ahead, Erika. Go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, because I had gaps in my family too, but I found when I tried to pick at them, it would mess up my own perspective and how to write. So sometimes you got to let those gaps be, and then, like you said, write from it of like, this was not told to me.
Exactly, and that's okay, because I feel like a lot of times in memoir, we want it to be neat. We want there to be a conclusion. It's like, no, my parents were in the war. They came to America, and I don't know. Like, I can't tell you. I can do my research, and I can read other stories, and I can try my best to understand, but I wasn't there. And that's another reason, again, I do give so much gratitude for my mom for telling me no, because like, that was her story, and I was like really pulling at things that like, she's like, you have no clue. Like, you were not in this war, you weren't there, like, you don't have the right to say this, you know. So interesting. It's real. Like, she was just like, no, and I did try to put her on the cover. I was like, I'll put your name on the book.
Leave me alone.
She really did.
I want no part.
Oh my gosh, what's my mom saying? She's a Taurus. Yeah.
Stern.
Yeah.
Were you whose memoirs did you read or were inspired by before you wrote yours, or even during writing yours?
Oh, I had so many. Oh my gosh, I loved Sarah Broom's The Yellow House. I love because just how she does with like landscape and like using the land as part of the book. I also love anything by Edgeridge Nandicat. Like I mean, literally, just pick a book. All of her books are so incredible. I read a lot of Imani Perry. I loved how she wrote. The end of my book was really inspired of how she wrote the letter to her sons in Breathe. I just thought I had seen a lot of like mother to daughter letters and father to son, but I hadn't really seen any like intimacy between a mother and her son. And so I was like really curious to share that that longing for him. And I was also inspired by the Langston Hughes poem Mother to Son. I just wanted that kind of energy to say like this is for you, and like this like act of love is a public display of it.
Speaking of mothers and sons, so my biggest inspiration was Heavy by Kiese Lamone. I read that in graduate school, and it changed my life. The understanding of like explaining how you survived your mother and her story, and then like being in conversation with your mother. There was also one called Blues Child Baby by Georgie Kane, and he was like a heroin addict, and he wrote his in like either second person or very close to it, of him being sprung out. But then while I was writing, I couldn't read memoir because I'm a horrible pasticher. Like if someone does it, I will copy it. I'm like, oh, I get it. And so I had to just like do my own thing. But Heavy was the biggest one of like I said, it was letters to your mom. You know, the whole thing's just written to his mother. And it's an intense relationship. Like it's kind of problematic, but it's also the love of his life who taught him how to write and be this educated. And that's how I felt about mine. So I'm interested to see what you think.
Yeah, I can't wait. So, my favorite, I have a great Casey story too. He's so brilliant. And when it was Twitter, before it was like whatever it is now, the first like accolade or like love or shout out I got from an author that I really admired was Casey. I still have it like framed.
Okay.
When I say framed, like in my screenshot, like it was like it was such a beautiful thing. It was before like Well Read Black Girl was very popular. It was just like so much incredible like love, and that's what makes that's like what makes the internet so great. It's like those moments where someone you admire, someone love, just like gives you a heart or a thumbs up, and you're just like, oh, like there is a mutual understanding of our gratitude to one another.
Yes.
Great.
David Boreanaz viewed my story once. That's the man who plays Angel on Buffy, and oh, that's my husband. It's his birthday yesterday. Oh, that's my man. Happy birthday! Right? Just him watching it, I was like, oh, like you've seen it. My life has changed.
Was it the one where I was tagged? No, I was just kidding. Okay, so I thought the countdown was 4. Then we would do the questions. They're telling me we got to do the questions now. So if anybody have any questions, and thank you both so much.
Thank you. You did a wonderful job.
Thank you. I want to open up for questions that the audience has. Yes.
I just finished your book.
Woo.
I also cried.
Yes.
Twice. Sorry. Thanks. The chapters, particularly with where you're talking about your mom and her final months, I found that there was like a gold nugget in every single chapter. Like the prose was so beautiful. It was this universal truth. Seriously, buy this book. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. And it would really stop me in my tracks. Like, I consider a book good if it has one good nugget like that, and you have them like every chapter. So it got me wondering, did you structure it around those really beautiful points? I don't want to give spoilers. I think you know what I mean, but like, did you structure it around that, or did they just organically come out in the writing process?
Oh, let's go with organic. I didn't even feel it happening. But I definitely had to add, like I said, when I first wrote it, it was nothing but the second person month. So it was literally just, it is now October, your mother is calling. And it was so intense. And I think the good thing about going from 25 to 35 is that you're able to reflect, you know what I mean? And add some sort of precious things in there to help past me, future me, and other people who are losing someone. So thank God there's some nuggets in there instead of just sadness. Because, it's like we have to laugh. That's why I'm always so like, because it's like if I don't laugh, I will sink. So yeah, thank you so much for those compliments. It was not structured around the nuggets. It was just structured around the pain. Thank you. Thank you.
So I just wanted to mention, this is being recorded. I haven't mentioned this to anyone else. So this whole thing will be on Gaithersburg's website.
Ooh la la. Okay, good.
So, and that's part of the reason we want to speak to microphones so
Yes.
we can hear the questions.
Absolutely.
So you can all listen to this at home.
A million times over.
A little quieter.
Study myself on this thing.
Right. Other question right here? Oh, I'm sorry. We'll go here and then there.
Hi.
Is that a hardcover?
Oh,
she
yeah.
got the
you know,
hardcover.
we ain't playing over here. But anyway, hello, Erika.
That's my bestie from grad school. Yes.
I got a question. My Virgo buck got a question.
Virgo in the building.
How did you go about numbering the Book of Sally verses and chapters? Was that, I know I'm thinking like numerology, I don't know, but was there
That's
any
a
process
very
there?
Virgo question. So originally these were just rules. I had an essay go to Best American Essays 2022, which is what this book became. And originally it was just 1 through 16, which is numerology. I was born on a 16 day, so I did 16 rules. And then I decided to turn it into a Book of Sally Carroll because my mother is so heavily Christian. So I made a Bible from what she said. And I did try to put them in order to see, but girl, I made up them numbers. It's just like 1, 2, 3, 7. But the best lines, there's one that's anyway, the ones that mean the most to my mother, there's one that's 6/6, that's her birthday. So I made sure things like that, or the very first rule, make sure you don't pay rent until you've eaten, because how you look sitting in an empty house with no food, yada yada. That one's for sure rule 1, 2. But otherwise it's gibberish, girl. Do not put them in order because you'll be disappointed. You will be
Question over here. And I'm telling you, the book is just like this. Just like this. And Glory's too. But Erika's just on another one.
I'm thanking Glory for getting these people in the building. Shout out Glory.
Okay, we're gonna have to have another debrief because you're hilarious.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
We'll still live stream that one
do
too.
a part 2 in
I'm
another
already-
pavilion. We'll all attend. We'll all attend. Ladies, have you always felt free and open to sharing your writing with others, or can you remember a time where you were like, this is for me, and you let go of that fear of sharing with someone else? I'm in the stage, I'm not writing books, but there are parts of me that are like, I want to get this out, but I'm afraid. I'm at that step where I'm too scared to take the leap to share it with others. Did you ever experience that? And if so, what helped you get over that fear of sharing it with other people?
Absolutely. If we can curse on this, absolutely. Okay, there was no part of me that wasn't afraid. But the thing is, it sounds cliche, but doing it anyway. Because after I would do it, it was, that shoulder release that you were sharing earlier, you feel lighter each time. And I would say sharing it with trusted people. That's the difference, right? You're not just sharing it willy-nilly with every single person. It's you have your intentional people that are loving and will hold you close and will respect your words. That's who you share it with. And then it gets a little bit bigger. And then you try it with a stranger. Then you maybe do it in an op-ed. Then you do it online and da-da-da. And then you get the book, But it's baby steps and being gentle with yourself. And my favorite part of being a writer is revision. I love to see a sentence get better and better and better and sharper and sound a certain way. I was talking to another fellow author, Essie Chambers is in the house. She's incredible. She just is and her writing, that's to get her book. But there's a feeling you have that can't be taught when you have written something brilliant. And you just know the quality of it. It's in your voice. You have to really get into your intuition and get into your own self-knowing to be an artist of any kind. And I don't think people trust that enough. You really have to trust yourself and then start to trust the page. Yeah.
If you don't hype yourself, no one else will.
It's
You
true.
hear me?
It's so true.
And let me tell you something. When I wrote the first chapter of this book, I sent it to Uche. 10 years ago, I said, will you look at this? And I was so nervous. And she responded and said, oh, this is so sweet. I can't wait to see what becomes of it. When I tell you, I read that and saw this is horrible. You need to wait 10 years, baby. I brought it up to her the other day, like, remember when you were a little mean? That's a Leo right there. She said, oh, no, I have all of my receipts. She pulled up the email and showed it to me, and I was like, oh. So definitely take your time. Yeah, if you're not ready, you'll hear anything as an insult. Because literally, she gave me a compliment, and I turned it around in my head.
Yes.
But like you said, it feels so freeing to get it out and to just be authentic. And no, I didn't change any names.
I didn't either, except for my exes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's when I say you don't deserve to be in history.
Right, that
Okay?
part.
You ain't going with me to
That
the top.
part. I had
But
a-
all my best friends' names in there.
Same here. All my best friends, my brother, my sibling, everyone is. It's like my family wants to read the book.
Oh, I held my niece's name because she's only 4, and I didn't want nobody to be like,
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I am so sorry, but our Oscar Too Long music is about to come on. So we do
Thank you so much. You're so wonderful. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you both so much, and thank you all.